So if you have like a walkout basement, you can cut down out back.
Okay,
They do the
that's where it
average
starts.
rate.
Got
They
it.
do the average.
Oh.
So no, it might not be 42.
We're here, we're
up
at 20.
front. Like you
So,
said,
so with
covering cars.
Call the meeting to order, we stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion for tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Thank you. Public comment? Danny, pass. Communications?
All right, so we got all our oil and stone done for the town roads. We started our paving this morning, so we built out some roads, we're gonna pave all of our roads at the 2-week floor plan, hopefully this week. Then, we had a good storm June 22nd, so there's some brush down that we're gonna go pick up. A few piles here and there, nothing crazy. And then we'll talk to you a little bit about it, John, about maybe changing payroll from Thursdays to Fridays, just to make life easier for mostly Kelly, a little bit myself. Discuss it further, but just so the board knows that possibility of thinking of doing that.
So I don't want to interrupt.
No, you go,
No.
yeah.
ADP, who's our payroll company, ADP, right? I always get them and the security people mixed up their initials, but anyway, they require now 72 hours advance on payroll. So when there's a Monday holiday, which is, we all know, there's a lot of holidays on Mondays, and it falls in a pay week, it creates some problems. So I think what we might want to do is take a look at, for 2023, maybe changing payroll days to Friday from Thursday. I think as long as we give people plenty of notice, I don't think it'll be an issue, but a lot of people have automatic deposits and also have automatic payments or withdrawals for various things. So I just want to make sure we give everybody plenty of notice, but it's created some issues. That they used to let us put payroll in on Tuesday and get paid on Thursday, which was not a big deal when there was a holiday, but I guess they've changed
Right, which means I gotta guess on some, if Kelly wants to sneak an extra day here and there, which I don't blame her, means I gotta get payroll in either Wednesday afternoon, so I guess possibly over to Thursday, Friday, and then Kelly's gonna go back around and put everything appropriately. We're into each budget, whether it's drainage or economy or whatever it might be, and then put it in the right way, so it's all done right. Kind of might be a little less opportunities for mistake if we just do it once instead of flipping it around.
Plus, you, in some aspects, you're doing the work twice.
Yeah, she is.
Right.
anyways.
She is, yeah. Sure.
Thank you. Michelle,
I don't have anything this month.
Sheldon,
I have nothing.
Brent,
I did the pre-construction meeting for the splash pad. Overall, I thought the meeting went pretty good. The contractors, in my opinion, John, I don't know what yours is, I thought they were pretty well prepared. Any questions that we had, they were able to put their fingers on it real quick. Scheduling, they're looking at starting Monday, the 18th. Breaking ground, I just went down there tonight. They had some soccer games going on. Holy cow, there's a lot of people down there for the soccer games. I'm kind of glad they haven't started construction yet because they were all over the place.
They end on the 20th.
They end on the
Soccer is
20th.
done. I talked to Larry Roth the other day. So soccer's done on the 20th, at least his league. He's all done.
Yeah, they had both fields running, and then the leach field and that open space is gonna be, they had a third practice scrimmage going, it looked like, running somewhere else. So just glad that they're not gonna be conflicting.
I'll double check the schedule too for anything that anybody else may have other than that, which I don't think there is, but double check it. Try to make sure that that's, we at least know about any potential conflicts.
Yeah, and just, I think they were talking about staking it out with, I call it snow fence, but the orange construction fence.
Yeah.
Just to let the people know they should be in there.
Right.
Had a planning board meeting recently with Men Green, received conditional final approval. I forwarded that to everybody. As you see, there's a lot of conditions on there.
Right.
There was a couple of them that required, it requires town board action, but it's our recommendations from our engineers, our attorneys on the conservation easement. I know Andy had some questions about the stormwater pond, the maintenance of it, and they, with your signature line on there, they're gonna work with Lobella and Marathon to address your concerns so we can understand, you can understand what maintenance needs to be done on that. I call it a pond, it's not, it's that bio retention.
So
And-
just for, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I mean, that's basically allows us to hold it over their head until they get Andy what we're asking for, he doesn't sign.
Absolutely, yes.
Right.
Andy has a signature line on there, and there's 20 conditions that they need to meet, and most of those conditions, what this allows them to do is to start making the investments more into the engineering, planning, buying materials, and get a shovel in the ground, so we can start moving.
When did they hope to start?
January of 22, right, John? They wish to have
Oh,
sold a
they
couple
wish
of
they-
lots already.
They sold a couple?
No, they wish to have.
Oh,
I don't know, I never heard a date of start of construction. So I know, I'm not aware of a date, but
No, it's gonna take them some time. I mean, they have some DOT items they have to take care of. They've got to finish up a couple of things with DEC, and then just ordering materials is gonna take them some time. And actually, I mean, before they can even do that, they need to come up with the security bond, which they work with Lobella for, and then they'll recommend to us to accept it. Am I saying it? It's a surety bond, correct, Sheldon?
I think so, yes.
It's a surety bond, and we have to act on that before they can even break ground. Okay, and then they have talk about the conservation easement, the letter of intent came from Bennett Foundation. And before they could do any certificate of occupancy, the town board would need to act on that conservation easement by the recommendation of our attorney. Not us, up us to
so
write,
we're
right?
looking at a little bit of time.
I believe so.
Okay.
I think you'd be lucky to see them break ground by 2022, end of 2022.
Okay. All right.
Attended the HFL graduation, which was nice to see. It was back at Dollar Field or the football stadium. Last few years, it's been at RIT. It's good to see back in Niagara Falls. And then I don't know how much you guys have followed Horseshoe Solar in our neighboring town of Rush. But the New York State Solar Commission, am I saying that correctly, John? They
As far as I know, yeah.
basically overruled New York State home rule.
Right.
I don't think there's anything we could do except for maybe verbal support for the town. But, it could be us next.
Sure.
They got denied and this board had all been put together overruled. And then the entire thing's going through intact. I think the Seneca Nation is also has a lot of concerns about this. I think they overruled the seeker on it.
Actually, there was a nice piece in the Senate. I don't know if any of you saw it.
Yes, yeah, that's where I saw it.
That addressed this issue. I thought it was well done.
But was it the one, I didn't read the last one. I think the one I saw was 2 weeks ago. That the supervisor was talking about.
No, this was on the front page. Trying to think if that was the last issue.
I feel like it was the latest.
Was it the last
I
issue?
think so.
Yeah. But I thought it was interesting. Something people should be aware of.
Sure.
Yeah, that is.
There was
one that I
something
saw
written
that,
up too from the Association of Towns, I feel like, that I read. I might be wrong on where I read that part.
How many acres is that? Is this,
I thought it was 1,500.
yeah, 'cause this is the one that we're talking about.
You know, they
Does
call
it go
it-
into Calmont? Does it?
Yeah, Caledonia.
Caledonia, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, 1,600 acres.
It's almost 3 square miles.
Yeah. My in-laws live in Rush. I see signs and I read newsletters. There is quite a bit of opposition, but I guess that doesn't matter.
Apparently not.
That's what I have.
Thank you. Karen,
I have nothing.
was there anything from that zoning board meeting you wanted to share?
No.
No, okay. Cindy?
A few things from the library. First of all, their fall programming is scheduled pretty much already. They have quite a few interesting things. And they have reached out to the team, for some team volunteers to assist with programming for the summer. All of that is underway. And let's see, the long-range planning ad hoc committee had several meetings and they gave their suggestions to Lila for her to write up. And let's see, the big focus has been on funding and budget. They're looking for funding, facilities, space. And there's no details, other details on that. And they're doing a lot of community outreach as well. And for their budget, they're focused on making sure they have adequate compensation for their employees. They've looked at several other policies of employees' pay, and they feel that they need to do something about that. And that's all.
Thank you. Tom?
UCB meeting last week. There's a property on Lanning Road to be subdivided into two lots. Nothing really of consequence there, but it's kind of interesting. Peter Carosa he's a pretty good asset to that committee, and they refer to it as the time machine. Go back in the time machine, and he's able to pull up satellite data from 20, 30, 40 years ago even. And so a lot of there was some EPODs, and that happened on Mendon Green too, where there was an area that's I think it was woodland, and went back, and these 40 years ago there was no woods there, it was farmers field. So
Yeah.
it's just very interesting that he's able to do that.
I think there's a local company,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
you can, I don't know what they charge, but the town can actually get a municipal account for that.
Okay.
Well, no, that shed's been there for 30 years.
Yeah, exactly.
No, see, you built that 5 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah. So and I think he may have access to that through his job, but so on this property on Lanning Road, just they're right now they're going to go out and do a walkthrough, come up with a decision. Anyways, but no, that's just it's fascinating to me. So that's it.
Thank you. Let's see. I received a letter from Peter Kester, the fire chief in Mendon. It was also signed by the fire chief in Fishers, where they're exploring the idea of working together for manpower shortage. Obviously, the committee that we put together addresses a very similar issue. RG&E, I had a Zoom meeting with them. They're going to be installing smart meters in the town of Mendon at all their sites. Anybody who has RG&E, and that is going to allow them to not have to send out a meter reader, basically. And my concerns were they going to be like in a situation on a day like today, were they going to be able to throttle down people's air conditioners and things like that? They told me no. So,
I thought it was for, they send the meter reads to cell phone towers.
yes,
I thought that's what it's for.
yes, that's what they're supposed to be. So that'll be interesting. Especially with the cell service that's available in the town of Mendon, which is fine.
It sure is.
Let's see, as Brent said, went to the pre-construction meeting. I thought that went very well. Had a follow-up meeting with
With the East.
Whitney East, thank you. I had the East part, but I couldn't come up with the Whitney. Regarding colors and working with them. Solicited some advice from several individuals in town hall regarding colors, because that's not my strong suit. Citizens Advisory Committee has been all picked, and they are scheduled for a meeting here this Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Everything is advancing towards that. Summer Rec, I've sent that out to the board. Kim Roberts does an excellent job with Summer Rec, and she provides weekly updates that I've been sharing with the board. Mending Green, we talked about. We have a meeting with our broker for the employees' health insurance next week. Kelly and I have a meeting with the broker next week.
Who's the broker?
It is Dan Bosfield.
Okay.
Let's see, the second trough of ARPA money, I sent that out to the board as well. We'll be getting that money any day now. That was in 2 payments, one we received last year. And I did have a discussion with Emily today, and she is working up a new proposal. Brett and I had a chance to look over her proposal. It was a little more extensive than what we were looking for, both in what she was going to do and what she was going to charge. So she's paring that down to our specific needs, and then I'll probably have something from her in the next few days to a week.
Is that kind of retainer based? I mean, how is, because I know it's based on, you know, what grants are out there, whatever. Is it a retainer? Is that what we're thinking about?
It was
paying,
a
or-
retainer.
It
It
was.
was.
Okay.
But what we're looking at is the fact that we're interested in pursuing a grant for X.
Okay.
And then she can take us from A to Z. But not, you know, we're a small town. We don't
Yeah.
have 17 different projects going at the same time.
We'll get a lower level of service.
Okay.
Than what was originally, but I don't know if that level of service that was proposed is really warranted.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, for what we need and what, you know, is potential cost versus risk. Because of course, all these grants, excuse me, you gotta put a certain amount of work and spend a certain amount of money just to apply.
Yeah.
And then you
There's
gotta
no
keep your
guarantee.
fingers crossed. But at least she knows, you know, a direction for us, which is, you know, don't bother going for this because you're not gonna qualify because you're meeting household income, kind of those kinds of things. Let's see. Oh, the drinking fountain at the library. I talked to Pat Washington. He's willing to do it probably in September. So I've got a couple of ones that we found online. I'm going to run those by the folks at the library. So they're looking for, Cindy, and maybe you know more detail than I do. Looking for something that not only serves as a drinking fountain that can refill water bottles.
Right.
That you see with COVID and that kind of thing. Some people are not comfortable with drinking fountains. So I showed it to Pat, you know, what they're probably going to end up with. And he said that looked pretty simple to him and he could take care of it. And that would be the most reasonable way I thought of.
And did this, I haven't seen any of the pictures of it, but does this have a thing where you put the bottle up and it comes out of a spigot, not a
Right.
spigot, but
Yeah.
because those have filters with them, I believe, and those filters are pretty costly.
Oh,
I wonder if the
okay.
library is aware of that.
I don't know the answer to that. I didn't look into it that deeply at
Okay.
this point. We just printed off a couple of different ones that were available on the internet.
Okay.
It's
They
kind of
don't need
something
to
I
be
can show
replaced
Pat.
all that often. I would think with the traffic they get in there, they might get 6 to 8 months out of the filter.
Okay. They're similar to what you have in your refrigerator for drinking, you know, if you have water available in the door, like kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think they're a sensor. So when you hold the bottle up, a certain amount of water goes in, like maybe this much into a water bottle, then, but there's a filter that's built into the machine. You have to
Gotcha. I
replace.
know in our refrigerator, there's a filter, but it
Yeah.
is, I've heard my wife say it's expensive. But I couldn't even tell you how much it costs.
Yeah.
There's a gauge in most of those on the front that says this is how many water bottles are saved. I'm sure that's probably a reference they use in terms of when that turns over a certain number, they probably say it's time to filter.
Well, the ones I've seen have like a red, yellow, and green light.
Okay, all
So
right.
the green light means you're good to go. Yellow, caution, it's time to,
Change your filter.
right.
Huh.
And then the red light, it doesn't stop working, it's just as the red light's on and you're drinking water. Not being properly.
Do you know why they don't have those in your refrigerator? Because it all be red.
Yeah, right.
Lastly is, had several complaints over the last couple of weeks about speeders, so, Andy, I'm gonna reach out to you so you can get those out and, get them up in a couple of key locations that, we've had complaints, because, as you know, we bought those 2-speed machines a couple of years ago, and, we'll get those out. One of them being the Hamlet, Plains Road, you know, all the typical Sibley Road, a lot of cut-through roads, you know, people just, no matter what the speed limit is, they see push, push, push.
I think the son we drive is about 55 miles an hour.
Oh,
No joking.
I
mean,
agree.
Sometimes it's tough to get out of that store.
Yeah,
Really? Yeah. So we'll get to work on that. That concludes it. Supervisors monthly report.
Make a motion to acknowledge receipt of supervisor monthly report for June 2022.
second, go ahead, Karen. No, go ahead, Karen.
Sorry, we did have a second, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion?
Looks, this point of the year, I think it looks good.
You know, as usual, DA lags, but that will, you know, as, you know, payment comes in from county and state, that'll catch up. But,
Sure.
other than that, you know, everything else is pretty good. And like I say, I'm not concerned about the revenue line in that one. That'll pick up.
Great.
Any other comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Next are minutes. These are minutes from June.
Wait,
13th.
town clerk.
Oh, did I skip town clerk?
Sorry about this.
Sorry about that. Yeah, town clerk's report.
I'll make a motion to accept the receipt, acknowledge receipt of the town clerk's monthly report for June 2022, showing receipts and disbursements in the amount of $3,916.55.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? One large one there is the 533 West Bloomfield Road. A building permit for just under $3,000, which that's a lot larger amount than what we've had in the past. Typical. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next one is minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular town board meeting as presented.
June 13th.
June 15th.
Any discussion?
One thing that not really for these minutes, but just general. Can we get the page number on the bottom or something? In the scan that came through, they were a little bit out of order. I was able to figure it out, but.
Okay.
This looks a little, what I
Yeah,
have
this
is
is,
completely
this
backwards.
is German.
Yeah, what I have is completely backwards in my packet. Any discussion? Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next is budget transfers and adjustments.
I make a motion to approve the following budget adjustments as outlined in the agenda.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Pretty minimal for this time of year. We've seen where we've had budget adjustments for fuel, electricity, all those things have been going up considerably. We've also had a couple of computer hiccups at town hall. One of which, Andy, I gotta remind you, I'll talk to you about it tomorrow. I think the mechanics computer. Yes, that's the problem with that. So we'll get talk to our computer guy about that one. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next are vouchers.
I make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers numbered 22-444 to 22-515 on general abstract 22-07 in the amount of $108,540.26.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just that if you noticed, the largest expense was that shirt coat. And I think that was expected. So,
Yep. Anything else? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I'd also like to mention that library vouchers number 22-085 to 22-093 on library abstract 2207 in the amount of $4,846.61 were presented to the town board.
Thank you. Number 11 on the agenda is declaration of scrap for the youth center.
Make a motion to declare metal bookshelves at Many Center as scrap and donate to the Girl Scouts in lieu of them assembling bookshelves.
Second.
So there's been some bookshelves in there for probably 10 to 15 years.
That's upstairs.
Yeah, in the original part towards Monroe Street. And of course, we agreed to have the Girl Scouts allowed to meet there, and so they're basically in the way. And nobody has any use for them, and they're willing to take them apart. So with adult supervision, of course. And they want to be able to recoup something for the scrap, which is very minimal considering the amount of work it's going to take to tear them apart and take them somewhere for scrap. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next is declaration of scrap to the highway department.
Make a motion to declare accumulation of scrap, including old pipe, metal picked up along the road, and scraps from the shop for recycling at Alpo.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Is that all the stuff in the back corner?
Yeah, I might drag my feet a little, looks like fuel's coming down, just to haul it there.
Okay.
Keep an eye on how that will take it in. Fuel's $7 a gallon to get it there.
$7.
Yeah.
It'll get more than that, but try to get.
And if you wait too long, then the price of scrap's gonna
Yeah,
go
so it's
down.
it's all, yeah, it's all.
It's all gonna play.
It looks like fuel's coming down, also like sneak it out there next week or something.
Sounds good.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, public comment. Anyone? Okay. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.